To get things rolling, how did you get the name Kinky?
I got the name Kinky in college. It applied to the fact that I used to have a lot of kinky hair. I still have some, but not as much as I did. And of course, as I like to say, I've got a head of hair better than Rick Perry's. It's just not in a place I can show you.
All right, moving along, because we have a few questions here. What are you going to do on your first week in office?
Open the Indian casinos, send 10,000 troops down to the border, and open an a listed phone number so people can call the governor at certain hours every morning and every afternoon. And I can talk to the people and stay close to the people in Texas.
Great. Some question that's always asked, do you have a girlfriend?
Yes, I do. She's British, and that's all we better say about her right now. I'm old enough to sleep alone, but marriage could be in my future. We could have a British First Lady. That's possible.
And here's one that the kids want to know. What is your favorite color?
Purple.
Purple.
Of course.
Okay. Why do you have such a love for all animals?
Well, I grew up with animals and people who loved animals, and animals are very important to me. I want to be the governor for all the animals too, not just the people. And Texas is blessed with having a lot of wonderful animals, and we ought to take care of them. And that's part of the reason I want to shut down the horse slaughter plant in Kaufman, Texas, and the one in Fort Worth. I don't want these horses slaughtered to send the meat over for people to eat in France. Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Excellent. So are you for the death penalty?
I think there's people who need to die. But having said that, I asked the question, when was the last time we executed a rich man in Texas? And the answer is never. So if we're killing all these poor guys who couldn't afford a good lawyer, and if we're getting it wrong occasionally, that ain't good. 2,000 years ago, we executed an innocent man who became the savior of the world. I just think we need to take a good look at the whole criminal justice system in Texas.
Wonderful. How was your life in the Peace Corps? Make any lifelong friends?
Yeah, I did. I love the Peace Corps. I was in Borneo in the jungle, where I worked with a lot of different tribes. And I met a number of people who I'm still close to. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. I worked for 11 cents an hour, and Peace Corps is something that everybody, I recommend all young people, try the Peace Corps. It'll change your life.
Kind of a follow-up on that, why did you join the Peace Corps?
I joined the Peace Corps because of JFK. The president had already been shot by that time. He was back some years earlier, but he still inspired my generation. And we wanted to do something hands-on after we got out of college. And everybody told me, don't join the Peace Corps, you'll come back, you know, we'll all be doctors and lawyers and you won't have anything, you know. And that was just not true. When I got back, all these people probably have found another occupation, they're unhappy with what they're doing, they got married and divorced a number of times. And we had a really spiritual experience. The Peace Corps, I speak for most Peace Corps volunteers, we all have a little village or a little town somewhere in our hearts that's thousands and thousands of miles away across the sea. And it was in many ways the most decent thing that we ever did in our lives.
Great. We know you love the game of 9-ball, but something most people did not know is that you were a chess champion as a child. Do you still enjoy the game? And does Willie Nelson give you a good run for your money on the chessboard?
Willie is extremely good because he plays instinctively. In other words, he plays speed chess, doesn't think about it, and he's really good for a guy that grew up playing dominoes, for instance. Now, I was a chess champ when I was 13. When I was about 11, I played the Grandmaster of the World, Samuel Washevsky, in Houston, Texas. And he played 50 of us at once, and he beat all of us. But I did very well, and he told my dad that he just can't take a chance with an 11-year-old. Because he thinks, he said, if an 11-year-old beats him, it's headlines, and his career is over. He was very sorry to have to beat me, but he did. And yeah, chess is a very very challenging game. So
Takes a hell of a strategy.
Yeah.
All right, here's one that most people would love to know. What kind of a cigar do you smoke? How many of them do you smoke each day?
This is an Epicure number 2. It's a Cuban cigar. I always like to point out I'm not supporting their economy, I'm burning their fields. But I may smoke anywhere from, I'd say an average day would be 7 or 8 cigars. You know, that's not as many as Thomas Edison or Mark Twain or Winston Churchill. They smoked a lot more than me. Winston Churchill smoked as much as 36 a day during World War II when he stayed up, worked 18 hours days. You know, he smoked a Cuban cigar every half hour.
Wow.
And I think they make you live longer. That's my theory.
Okay. If Kinky has a drink, what does Kinky like to drink?
Kinky likes to drink Guinness, the drink that kept the Irish from taking over the world, or tequila, one or the other. Both of them make me very happy. Wine, I can't drink because it makes me angry, melancholy, bitter, confused, lazy, world-weary, argumentative, and all those things. So I don't drink wine, but I do drink red wine anyway. But I do drink tequila, which makes me happy and smart.
Good. I've been on the trail with you a lot. I've never seen you drink too much, which is a good thing. After a long day on the campaign trail, you get into your car, head towards the next hotel room. What song do you put in the CD player to relax?
Gotta Get a Message to You by the Bee Gees, or anything by Roger Miller.
Okay. Why did you decide to run for governor? What in particular led you to that decision?
I don't think it was a road to Damascus experience. I think if Rick Perry had been doing a better job, I wouldn't have run. I just love Texas. I don't like what I see is happening in Texas, the direction we've taken. And I want to see if I can get the people involved so we can turn this thing around.
Okay. Who influenced you to become a writer?
Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote Treasure Island, is one of them. Charles Bukowski, the poet.
I like Bukowski myself.
He's great. You know, he was just a drunkard his whole life, and
Yeah, he was.
considered himself to be a loser in a lot of ways, but he's now sold more poetry than any American poet ever has around the world. And I think he's a great poet. I also like, you know, the dead guys are great. Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes, Edgar Allan Poe, those guys. And many of the great writers, of course, died in the gutter. Fortunately, people are buying my books now, even if they're only opposition research people from the Republicans and Democrats. Every writer's dream is to have people buy your books and read every line, poring over it. What did he mean by this? You know, so finally, they're reading my books.
Good. Do you primarily consider yourself a writer or a musician?
Oh, my heart is in music. But as Willie Nelson says, Kinky thinks he's a guitar player, but he's not really a guitar player. So I'm not a great musician, no. But I like musicians, and I like their attitude toward life. And they've got 3 things that politicians don't have. They've got integrity, creativity, and a sense of humor. I've never met a politician that had all 3 of those.
Tell us about your time as a pro-civil rights activist, Austin restaurant desegregation that you helped with as a young man.
When I was probably a sophomore in the University of Texas,